Q1 help video number 4, Ecological Relationships Assignment. Let's go on ahead and get started. So you will find this assignment under week 4. The reason I'm going over this is because there's a quiz at the end, and it would be a good opportunity to go on ahead and get a few assignment points while getting some of those more important performance points added into the gradebook. So let's go on ahead and look at this. This is another one of those Google Slides assignments that I did. Don't worry, I won't be relying on slides as heavily in the coming quarters. Okay, so for this assignment, the entire idea is for you to be able to A, understand and explain what each of the ecological relationships are, as well as identify them or identify examples of them using the internet. So it's fairly simple to find examples of. And then also to be able to identify the correct relationship given different scenarios. So I'm really trying to test your conceptual knowledge on this particular assignment. So the first things first, the first part of the assignment is for you to watch this Amoeba Sisters video. And as I've said for other assignments like this, when you're watching this video, if you start watching it and then you click off the screen, it immediately restarts. So my suggestion is to hit the play button and then go down here where it says YouTube and click that. And then it won't restart on you, and you can skip around the video however you need to and go back and forth as you type your answers. Now, you are going to leave a definition. I prefer the definition from the Amoeba Sisters video if possible of each of these, as well as an example. So you're not just going to tell me that predation is when one creature eats another organism, but you're also going to give me an example. Don't just say beetle and leaf. Say, an example of predation is a beetle eating a leaf. And boom, that would be it, right? Same thing for competition. Make sure it's a biology competition definition, but then don't just say elk. What about elk that makes a competition? Oh, well, 2 elk fighting over the same mate. Well, now you have an example of competition. So this is what I'm looking for in this particular part, and it ties directly right there. And if you need an example, well, check this out. If you go to google.com, the old web browser there from way back when, and you say parasitism examples, voila, you get all sorts of examples to use. Now, don't just say fleas and ticks, because those are organisms. You want to say fleas sucking out the blood of a dog. That would be parasitism. Mosquitoes drinking your blood. That would be parasitism. Vines growing on a tree and taking away sunlight and nutrients. That would be parasitism. So you want to explain your example in here. Don't just give me one-word responses, okay? Now, the next part is asking you to come up with a different example. So I take that back. Let me rewind. This slide right here is the examples directly from the video. This example here is asking you to go find a different one like I just showed you using Google. So my apologies. So yeah, and then you have to explain why. So a beetle eating a leaf is an example of predation because anytime flesh of an organism is eaten, it counts as predation. Boom, there you go. Something like that, right? It's a little bit cyclical, but the idea is to practice the concept in your head so that it sticks. So it's a little bit of rote memorization here. Then I try to test your knowledge in the following slides. So when we get to the next portion, look, here is the here's the information that you need. But then as you go down, I have the scenarios for you to read. So I'm asking you to consider the relationship between the tomato plant and the pollinating insects, and the tomato plant and the humans which take the tomato fruit and eat it, right? So I'm asking about that relationship here. Is it mutualism? Is it predation? Is it, you got to explain. So you come here and you say, hey, I think this is an example of mutualism. And then for your explanation, here's why this is mutualism, and you explain, okay? Fairly straightforward assignment. Again, here's another one, 2 male elk fighting over the same mate. What is that? Explain why you think it's that. the example here of these aphids sucking out, key, sucking out. They're not eating, they're sucking out nutrients from a plant. What is that, and why is that an example of it? Here are some beetles eating leaves. They're eating the flesh of another organism. So that's an example of what? And why do you think that's an example of that? And the final one, this is one that was confusing for a lot of people, so I'm going to clarify. I'm asking about the relationship between the person mowing, which was me at the time, and the birds. I'm not asking about the relationship between the birds and the bugs, or the human and the bugs. The relationship between the human mowing with the lawnmower and the birds. What is that? And when you are looking at your symbiosis examples, mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism, remember, mutualism is plus plus. Both things get something out of it. Commensalism, one thing is plus, but the other thing's neutral. It's not affected. And then parasitism is when one thing benefits and the other thing is negatively affected. So which one of those three, I just narrowed it down for you, which one of those three is this one? That's the question. Now, the final thing to do is to take your ecological relationships quiz. It is a 5-question quiz. And you notice I say you have to pass the 90%. Basically, I'm telling you to retake this until you get 100%. It's an easy way to boost your grade. You just have to take it again and then put your screenshot of the quiz and score here so I can verify that you did it, and so I don't have to look through hundreds of responses to try and find your one grade, okay? So you do that, get that turned in, and that is legitimately the end of the Ecological Relationships Assignment. I'm Chris Clemens, your host of Q1 Help Videos.